Welcome to Real Estate Profits with Purpose. I'm your host, Ian Boshoff, and here with me today is Jessica Couch. How are you doing today, Jessica?
Good evening. Great. Happy to be here with you today.
All right, Jessica, tell us a little bit about your background. I know you're on the show pretty much every week, but for
Thank
those
you
listeners,
for the invite. I've been in real estate for a long, long time. I got licensed in 99 when I bought my very first property and thought, I want to do this. That was such an amazing process. And I worked with a lender that I ended up going to work for. She ran a mortgage and real estate company. And I am so excited that we've come back into a time that we get to marry these two together because the process is cumbersome, and having the control of having the entire file there where we can help even more rather than going outside of our circle, it makes everything so much easier, guys. I'm telling you.
peanut butter and jelly.
It is. Peanut butter, that is such a good example. Yes.
Love peanut butter and jelly. I eat all my kids' Crustables when they don't eat theirs.
I was going to say, yeah, it's really like the Uncrustables.
Yeah.
They are just cinched right around perfectly.
Yes.
That's really what you're getting with our team. Some real cinching. We take care of all of those things. It's a great combination. You don't have to worry about a thing. It's all in-house.
That's right. Real estate and mortgage company. That is what you need, because when you're dealing with a mortgage company, you got to go find an agent. When you're dealing with the agent's got to know who that lender is. They don't feel comfortable working with that lender, but the communication is kind of lost when you work with multiple people. But if you have it under one roof, we have systems in place that notify each other. It makes it a little bit more seamless, and you click the easy button when you do that. So I just kind of want to get into my background as well. Is I started back in 98, 1 year before.
Oh, you got me.
I may have not been legit, but the place I worked for, but it was in San Diego, and we used to dial for dollars and make about 200 to 300 phone calls to get yelled at on the yellow pages, the farm packages, the old, everything was on pieces of paper. So I had to, land a person that was interested in refinancing, raise my hand, and then all these loan officers came running over to grab. It was just like the movie The Boiler Room, if you've ever seen that. And so I was like, what is these? I can do better than these monkeys. Like I can do what this 25-year-old driving a 500 SL can do. You know, he's wearing a Rolex and driving a $100,000 car, and he's just a gorilla. And I'm just like, okay, I can do this.
Right.
So we got in and long transition through it. After 3 or 4 years, end up being a general manager of a mortgage company we started, and we ended up having about a team of 50 people.
Wow.
It was a full-service mortgage and real estate brokerage. We had in-house escrow and title, and that's where I learned what seamless was all about.
Right.
And that's when you could get a $750,000 loan just because your hair was blonde.
Right.
You know,
Those were the days.
They were. But now it's actually, you have to prove your income. You've got to document everything. They want your firstborn child, and they want 300 pieces of blonde hair in your head, or you're not getting a loan. So just kidding. That's not how it is, but that's what we do here. We do mortgage and real estate. So thank you for listening. We want to talk about a few things of what we do here. With our purpose. And Real Estate Profits with Purpose actually means something. We donate 10% of our profits to Sweet Dreams Foundation and Operation Underground Railroad from the movie The Sound of Freedom. So thank you for those of you who listen to the show. And be sure to give us a call or text to 916-872-7177 or log on to promortgagerealty.com if you'd like to be a part of the cause or have any questions during or after the show. So our topic today is going to be to touch on the purchase and process of the real estate transaction for a residential, investor, or rehab and construction. And so I wanted to start by asking you, Jessica, because you've worked with thousands and thousands of people. And by the way, Jessica is probably one of the top producers in Placer County, California, kind of the Roseville, Rockland, Granite Bay, Lincoln area. She just
I'll take you anywhere. You need a $350,000 house. We're going to Marysville.
She goes to Stockton.
I go to Stockton all the time. It's no problem. I've never said I'm the neighborhood expert because the same person that is moving from Cameron Park will have a grandmother that needs to move to Stockton. So I need to be very versatile and able to pivot and go wherever.
And she does. She calls me all the time, and it scares me because sometimes the car's driving while she's looking up property.
Drives itself.
She's looking at properties while the car's driving. It freaks me out. So, but let's talk about the process, Jessica, and how do you approach a client that's a first-time home buyer versus like an established investor looking for solid income properties. Let's start with the first-time home buyer.
Okay.
Right.
My favorite.
What are the logistics behind it? Walk me through this. If I'm Joe homeowner, I come to you and say, hey, I've never owned, don't know anything about it. Tell me about it. What do I need to do?
I find out what they're paying for rent, where they live now, how far we can be from work, what spouse, partner, what does that look like? What areas are we looking into? How much do you make? What payment are you comfortable with? How much do you have to put down?
Dang.
And then we go through a phone call. I take, copious notes, and we go through a phone call with Ian. We get the pre-approval started. Sometimes, I found this to be true again yesterday. I spoke with the man that said I was pre-approved, but only at this amount. I can't find anything. And I said, do not let that stop you. Let's talk to Ian. We've had this happen where another lender that maybe doesn't have the same experience or the same creative mind wasn't able to use bonus money or tips or commission or overtime or any of these things that's going to bump up their amount.
Got it.
So we get them bumped up to some, good amount that's going to work for them. Sometimes it's higher than they want to be. You're approved at $600,000. This just happened, but you really want a payment that's set at under $450. So let's find a house that's going to meet your needs under $450.
Yeah.
How many bedrooms do we need? How many bathrooms do we need? And then I set up a list and we start shopping. And in my opinion, it doesn't matter if you hate every house I show you. I have a better idea of what's not going to work and what I'm looking for. And this is my full-time job. So this is what I'm doing. Like, I am out looking at properties all the time, finding who they're going to work for.
So Jessica, with that said, so there's a lot of trying to find out their needs as a homeowner. And do you ever ask about what their 5-year plan
Always.
is, or what's their purpose of this first home?
Yeah, always. Like, what is the goal in this? Are you thinking this is going to be your forever home? Rarely is it. Is this a 5-year plan, a 3-year plan? Is the plan to rent this out? You have family coming. Your parents are going to, come back from wherever they are. They're going to take over this home and you're going to buy another home. What does that look like? And that'll help us to decipher how much to put down. If we're going to refinance, are we doing a temporary buy down? I think this is a real strategy call, which Ian is so good at. We can get in there and just strategize on like what the big plan is and how much money you want to use out of pocket. And with rates not being as great as we'd like them to be, are we doing a temporary buy down, doing a refinance in 2 years? Then we really don't want to use more money than we have to out of pocket.
Yeah.
So we just take all that into consideration, find the best house for this best timeline and get them into a contract. And I think that's where we really shine. We are able to get into contract pretty quickly.
Well, that's a great point. And getting you can even get people in contract with down payment assistance. So
we do.
You don't necessarily need to have that money for down payment.
Sure.
We have Calhaffa, we have a Chenoa. We can go down to a 580 FICO score with 100% financing. We can do a 640 with Calhaffa, 640 FICO score, credit score. So if your credit is shot, you think you have no chance, you don't need a down payment. The only challenge is you're going to have the closing costs. Right, we can still
I can usually get the seller to cover those.
Yeah, Jessica does that, and if you can't do that, then there is an alternative of getting an additional closing cost assistance.
Right,
but it just increases your interest rate. So we try to steer away from that. It's hard to get in contract unless you're with Jessica, and I'm not even saying that. She's the most influential. She has a way with words into getting you in contract. So
I have a way of hustling.
Yeah,
I will not stop until we were in contract. We will just keep hammering away until we have you in a contract.
Yeah. And tell me about the expenses. Like, what is a first-time home buyer expected? When do they put their money into escrow? And what is escrow, and what kind of things do they have to pay for during the process?
That's a good question. So, earnest money deposit is typically 1%. However, hundreds of contracts I've written, I always make it $1,000. 1 out of 100 calls me on it and says, bump it up. But I don't want to put your money on the line if we don't have to have more money on the line than necessary.
Yeah.
So $1,000 is needed for your earnest money deposit. That's part of your down payment. And then we cover your inspections. We cover your appraisal cost. We really go above and beyond. And I don't think, in fact, I know for a fact, unless you are someone that works with our team, this is not like word on the street, no one's paying for anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. Our business model has really been from the very beginning to give back in this big way rather than spend that money on a bench bus ad. I don't want a stranger from a bench bus ad. I want your grandmother. I want your neighbor. I want your mother-in-law. I want your friend. I want your sister. That's who I want. I want all the people that you can tell you had a great experience. We covered everything. We made it easy. You didn't have to pay for anything up front, and we want all their business. So that's our model.
So you have the earnest money deposit. That the earnest money deposit is tell me a little bit about what the deposit is for.
Oh, it's a pinky promise. Pinky promise. It says, we are going to go into contract with you. We are going to honor our timelines. We're going to get our inspections done, our appraisal done, and our loan complete. And we're going to give you this $1,000 as pinky promise money to have escrow hold. And if we pull out with any of our timelines, you get your money back.
Got it.
But that's our escrow process. Escrow is that third party. What's the word for it?
Attorney agent?
Yes. Yeah. They're not involved in our transaction. They are a third party that is not favoring either side.
Yeah, that's in some states they have attorney states. So
yeah, Florida.
So the escrow companies, they'll Florida, Texas, I think Virginia, I can't remember.
Oh.
And so those states, they have it's an escrow attorney. Some have attorney, some have escrow. The purpose of the escrow is to make sure that all parties are covered and make sure that they order title insurance.
Very important.
Title insurance, make sure that your property is free of any encumbrances, liens, mechanic liens, things like that. And to make sure what you're buying is the actual property and you're not buying someone else's property and you're not getting frauded.
Right.
So everyone that gets financing has to get title insurance. People that don't get financing doesn't have to, but it's highly, 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 highly advisable to do so. So you want to have title insurance, and there are these things that cost money. But what Jessica was saying there is that they'll cover the inspections. That's like $300, $350, $400
per inspection.
There's termite inspections. There's appraisals. There's quite a bit. Depending on how the damage of the property is, or if it's old or whatever, you're going to have to pay for a lot of things.
Right.
So we're coming up on a break, and we're going to continue talking about the purchase process of a transaction. Before we do, I want to go, here's a brain crusher question for y'all. Going back to 1971, 52 years, what has been the average interest rate for mortgages?
Oh, the average. Okay.
Text us at 916-872-7177. We'll be back after this.
Sweet Dreams Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to glorify God by spreading peace, hope, and love to families with medically fragile babies and children. They offer dream bedrooms to children battling life-threatening illnesses, and their Ruse Baby program creates an atmosphere that will lift the spirit of the child, where they can laugh, play, and let their inner light shine. To learn more about the Sweet Dreams Foundation, visit sweet-dreams.org. When you work with Pro Mortgage and Realty, you're supporting the Sweet Dreams Foundation. Partner with Pro Mortgage and Realty today to buy or sell a home and help support the Sweet Dreams Foundation to help more children in our communities. Call or text Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty today at 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916, or visit promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 351319 and DRE number 0174567.
If you or a family member are in the process of buying a home, then you'll want to hear this. Pro Mortgage and Realty has streamlined the home buying process, providing you with mortgage pre-approval and a top-performing real estate agent all under one roof. And if you call or text within the next 10 minutes to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, they will cover your closing costs. Pro Mortgage and Realty makes it easy. They will negotiate the best deals and save you thousands by using one company. From down payment assistance programs, DSCR loans, FHA and VA loans, and more. They cover all aspects of mortgage and real estate, from finding you the right finance programs to finding you the right home. Work with a company that can be with you throughout the whole home buying process. Call 916-872-7177 or visit promortgagerealty.com for more information. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 315319 and DRE number 017456667.
Welcome back to Real Estate Profits with Purpose. I'm your host, Ian Boshoff, and here with me is Jessica Couch.
Good evening.
And so, just to recap on our topic of what we've been talking about, we have been talking about the purchase process of a residential investment, rehab, and construction. We were just following up on a first-time home buyer, talking about what is the purchase process, and Jessica's been going through that. We did have a question at the end of our break, and the question was, going back to 1971, 52 years, folks, what has been the average interest rate for mortgages?
I'd say it's where we are ish right now, like 6, 7, 8%, something around there.
I think you're kind of right. I think you're
I didn't actually cheat, guys. I don't know what the answer is.
Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Can I have a drum roll?
Yeah.
Okay. 8%.
Oh, so we're below what the average has been.
8%.
Good to know.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
It's 8%.
Yes.
And so I'm looking at this chart. This is courtesy of Freddie Mac, by the way. 1975, 9%. 1976, year I was born, 8.876%. 77, 8.85. 1979, 11.20%. It got all the way up to 16.4% in 1982, you know? And I mean, well, I don't even know what to say there.
Right.
So we're looking at, 2021, 2.96.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. So if you're whining about interest rates, remember the average interest rate in 52 years is 8%.
Well, we talk about it so often, but I think it's worth reiterating. Home prices are stable right now. We are not seeing skyrocketing prices. Interest rates, they are not the best. We know that to be true. But we also know you can lock in a really good price in a stable purchase price right now and then refinance. So when everyone else is in a flurry trying to go and purchase when rates come down, you have equity.
Yeah.
And with that equity, you can refinance and have a lower payment, and you already paid that great amount you wanted for a house. You're even better off come next year when rates are down.
I agree. We've been preaching this for a while. Even Barbara from the Shark Tank said this the other day. I heard her. I'm like, go, Barbara. But I think that's important. You get the house, you marry the house, you date the rate.
Right.
And it's just economics. Rates are going to come down. But when they do, right, and they're actually talking about raising or reducing them. The Fed's talking about possibly hiking them up one last time.
Why
I don't
not?
personally, don't quote me on it, but personally, I think that they're not hiking them. They're done. So we will see what happens. But we covered that on our last week's show. So be sure to ask us questions. If you like more information about that, you can text at 916-872-7177 or go to promortgagerealty.com. And then after the show, we can get back to you as soon as possible. So, Jessica, I wanted to talk about, finish up what we were talking about.
Yeah.
We were talking about the earnest money deposit. What is that? The inspections, how much those cost, and the financing and how to get that right. The payment, how to get that right.
Yes.
So, what's next? So, we've got the financing, we've got the offer accepted, we've got that pinky promise that you were talking about. What happens after the inspections are done and all that?
Well, we get the inspections done, handle any work that needs to get done. I'm always there, so we have a good group of vendors. We can come in and get whatever's done. Get our appraisal done, make sure our value is good, get our loan complete, and then we close on your property. We throw you a housewarming party. Rinse and repeat.
Who pays for getting the housework done? Like what?
Very often I do. It comes out of this this portion of commission that we're able to help with. In fact, if you're somebody that has a corporation, has an office, has multiple employees, we could really lay out an amazing program to help all of your employees. But we typically cover the inspection cost, the appraisal cost, and sometimes, depending on the repairs, we can cover some of the repairs as well.
Yeah.
Not always, but again, if you're a corporation, we've got a big program laid out for you. We'd love to chat with you about that as well.
Yeah, and after at the end of the show, we'll give some more details about that.
Yeah.
So now we've got that. You've closed the house. We've closed the deal, and so that's fantastic, right? That seems like an easy process.
Oh, and then we keep in touch because we need to know where rates are when they're going to refinance. We need to keep them abreast of where their value is. Sometimes people end up having something come up where they want to add a second story. Parents are moving in. They need to add a mother-in-law's quarters or an ADU, and they need to use a HELOC for that. Or they need to do a refinance because rates are now better. Or, hey, it's been 2 years and we had a life change. We're having twins. We need to find a different property. So we're always in touch. This is not a one and done deal. We're in touch, and we stay in touch so that we can make sure that we can help this family pivot for all of the things that are going to come up over the next.
Their next move, right? They're like, what's going to be their next move?
Right.
Are they going to sell it and take the proceeds and buy their move up home? Because you're not going to get everything you want. You're not going to check all the 5 boxes that you want on your first home. It's highly unlikely. So the thing that you want to do is use this property as a stepping stone, lower your standards a little bit, and just understand that you're investing into your future and your family's future. So
couldn't agree more.
So if we have that, now let's jump into the more experienced investor. Say investor number 2 has 3 properties, and he's looking to grow his real estate portfolio. He's calling Jessica. How are you walking through that client through the process?
Oh, I like this guy. Well, I love the fact that they already know what they want. They know what they have. They know what's working, and they know which areas they're not going into. They know which areas they're willing to go into, and they know what the price for those areas is. Newer investors will tell me, "Oh, I want this kind of a property for this price." I'm like, that doesn't exist. We have to go into a kind of D neighborhood in order to get that price. If you're looking for an A or a B neighborhood, you're going to pay a much higher price, and your cap rate, which we talked about before the show, is going to be different.
Yeah.
That's the number, which usually if I can get a cap rate of say a 3 or a 4 in a single family, I can usually get a 6 or a 7 on a multifamily.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for a higher number because that's your total cost divided by the purchase price of the property. So the higher the number, the better you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And we can link all of that if you're interested in how to run a cap rate. But I want to know what area they're in, what kind of money they want to make. And are they rolling this from a 1031? Do we have a property to sell in order to get this?
What is a 1031?
Oh, that's a way to avoid paying taxes. There's a holding
like
tank.
that.
Yeah, I don't like paying taxes either. It's a holding tank for that money. If you've just flipped this home or you've owned it, let's say for several years, you've claimed it as a rental. And that's the difference. If you have claimed it as a rental. Because I have some families that have their kids paying rent. They never claim it as a rental. They're just helping their kids out and they sell it and it still counts as their family home. You
Right.
could get away with that. But if this is something you've calculated on your taxes at, I forget the schedule, but my
Schedule
CPA does
E.
it for me. Schedule E. Okay, if you have a
Schedule
Schedule E,
at
government
those all
knows
the
about
time.
it. We have to have a 1031 exchange in order to avoid paying taxes on that property.
Yeah. And that's important too, because if you've got a certain amount of time to roll that investment over the proceeds. So definitely, if you're thinking about selling a property and you're not very versed, talk to an accountant, CPA. Call Jessica. How do they reach you, Jessica?
Oh, 916-532-8916.
Okay,
In fact, we just had this come up with a young man where he wanted to sell a property. Well, we did sell the property, actually. I don't even think we were on the market 5 minutes. My phone blew up. And he was like, oh, I'm going to pay taxes on this. I have another idea. So we ended up just backtracking a little bit, getting that money into a 1031 exchange company and being able to use that to avoid taxes to buy the next property that he got a deal on as well.
Yeah, and you want to do that because you have equity, you have down payment, and when you buy an investment property, you're not getting 3.5% down.
Right.
You cannot acquire an investment property with little down. And you need at least 15 to 25%, just to cash flow. Right. And so that's kind of the requirements of the bank. So when you also purchase an investment property, it's very important to understand that you have to have reserves in the bank.
Right.
And so the banks require you to have 3 to 6 months reserves per property financed. So if you got 5 properties and you've got $10,000 of payments, you need $30,000 sitting there in the bank. You don't have to do anything with it. It just needs to sit there and you need to prove it and document it. So it's really important. What's going to happen is we're going to see what properties these investors are going to look at. We're going to run numbers for them. Jessica does this all the time. She's going to call me. I'm going to run numbers with her. Of course, if you're working with me, but I'd highly advise you to do so because
So you have the best rates and the best service, and it's so much easier. That is really kind of the problem I didn't say earlier is when somebody brings an outside lender and I'll say, I don't know, Sally's numbers don't really jive. I think there's some junk fees here. The rate just changed. It's so much easier when it's in-house and I know that as a team we're taking care of them and I know what we're doing rather than having some outside person I haven't worked with switch things up. And unfortunately, that happens.
Yeah. And there's a lot of little intricacies that that take place is the condition of the property. How much is it rented out and little things like that. You also have financing. If you can't prove income, you have DSCR. And DSCR is it's almost like the investor stated. So as long as you have a rental agreement and you have a purchase contract and you own a primary residence, you can buy this property without furnishing your tax returns. Hallelujah.
Which is amazing.
Hallelujah.
Amazing option.
So DSCR is the name of the loan. And so if you have any questions about that or if you're an investor looking to buy some property, you should feel free to text at 916-872-7177 or go on to promortgagerealty.com. I do have one more thing before our break here is a little brain buster. like to hear from the audience if you would. 916-872-7177. Text me what you think the answer is. What is the average age of a first-time home buyer?
Ooh.
What is the average age?
Like the average
of
age for everybody or just for us?
I think just for everybody in general. What is the average age for the first-time home buyer?
Okay, I'm going to wager my guess.
Okay. We'll be back after this.
If you or a family member are in the process of buying a home, then you'll want to hear this. Pro Mortgage and Realty has streamlined the home buying process, providing you with mortgage pre-approval and a top-performing real estate agent all under one roof. And if you call or text within the next 10 minutes to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, they will cover your closing costs. Pro Mortgage and Realty makes it easy. They will negotiate the best deals and save you thousands by using one company. From down payment assistance programs, DSCR loans, FHA and VA loans, and more. They cover all aspects of mortgage and real estate, from finding you the right finance programs to finding you the right home. Work with a company that can be with you throughout the whole home buying process. Call 916-872-7177 or visit ProMortgageRealty.com for more information. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 315319 and DRE number 017456667.
Welcome back to Real Estate Profits. I'm your host, Ian Boshoff, here with Jessica Couch. How you doing, Jessica?
Great. Good evening.
Great. I love it. I love it. Love the energy. Jessica is an Energizer bunny, and she's probably the best real estate agent I know. And I've seen a lot of agents. So just a pleasure to have you here with us, Jessica. And we've been talking about the purchase process for residential investors, kind of the A to Z of it, right? What's involved on the financing, what's involved on the earnest money deposits, the inspections you got to pay,
right,
and how you cover them as an agent, and that's just awesome. Most agents don't touch that, so I really encourage everyone, if you haven't worked with an agent, call Jessica, and after the show we'll give more details about her. But we had a teaser brainbuster question: what is the average age of the first-time home buyer? And based on the text answers, I see 23, I see 27, and what do you think it is?
I think across the board it's going to be 32.
Woo-wee, that's good. That's good. Really? Did you peek at my notes?
No. In fact, we were just talking about this. We've closed 2 just recently that were 20 years old.
Yeah.
20.
I remember the first name, Malik. Yeah, he was, he cut hair. He was a barber.
That kid,
Barber.
I brag about him all the time.
Yeah, he really did it right, too, because he showed his income and he documented it. So a lot of self-employed people out there, there are programs like bank statement programs. There are programs like DSCR. There are programs that are actually stated with 20% down. But when a lot of cash businesses like a bartender, a barber, a hairstylist, a lot of them don't show their income. So this kid did.
Yeah.
He showed his income. He was showing a 60, some odd thousand, and he bought a condo, 20 years old.
Yep. He's also a great barber. I brought all my children in there. That kid can do a fade. Yeah.
That's awesome.
He is
You're
awesome.
calling a kid can do the fade. And he just bought a house.
Yes.
That's great. That's because he knows you.
Yeah. Pleasure to know him.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. I mean, if you're somebody that is in that age group that thinks it's out of reach, I'm telling you it's not. What's out of reach is when you don't bother making the phone call to figure out what needs to be done to get there.
That's right.
And that's where I think what was our average age? Was it really 32?
It was 34.
Dang. I was close.
You were close.
But I think so many of these people wait. They probably could have purchased something smaller, maybe a condo or a duplex or something in their earlier years, but they waited because they didn't know what they needed.
Yeah.
And I'd rather bridge that gap. Don't wait. Call us now. Let's figure out what you need. I don't care if it's a 6-month plan or a 36-month plan. Let's get something moving.
Yeah.
Nothing happens overnight.
It doesn't. I bought my first house with a friend. We split it. It was actually Evel Knievel's nephew, Curtis Knievel.
No way.
Yeah. It was Evel Knievel's nephew, Curtis, and we were friends in San Diego. And I said, hey, I want I want to buy a house. He goes, dude, so do I. He was this little San Diego dude with spiky hair. And then I'm like, let's do it. So we split our first house, but you can do that stuff, you know? And
you can still do it now,
you can do
right?
it now. And so, but here's the problem, a lot of people don't know that you don't have to have the full 2-year history of a job. If you've got a job related to what you were going to school for, if you went to college, and you provide those transcripts, that can be utilized as your 2-year history.
Which is amazing.
Exactly. And then if you've got a salary paid position, that can also be used. But you just need to show a 2-year history of work in general. It doesn't need to be in the same field. Now, salary is important versus hourly, and full-time is important versus part-time.
Sure.
So if you're part-time and your hours are fluctuating, you need a 6-month establishment of those hours. And you need a 2-year history of work to prove that you've been working part-time. Now, if you're full-time and you can prove it, and we can use the full-time hours. So that's where it really gets hung up. But that's what people like me look at. And so as doing loans for 25 years, I know what to look for. I know how to look for them. We typically just ask for basically a mild application. You fill out a couple things, doesn't cost you any money, and you go through and you fill out your name, date of birth, social security number. You do an authorization to pull credit. It's a soft pull. We don't do a hard pull. And so
it's not hitting your credit.
Not hitting
it's
your
not
credit.
lowering your
Yep.
score.
And you're not getting triggered on these trigger leads, which may be soon illegal, what I heard from the DNC. So
Interesting.
So, yeah. So with that said, is what I'm getting at here is that let us do it. It's not going to cost you a
Right.
dime. And if it's not 6 months from now or tomorrow or a year from now, we'll get you in a position like Malik, like Jessica did, and you'll be buying your house.
Yes.
So,
Well, I think what you just said is really important. I know a lot of people that make a great hourly rate.
Yeah.
They have often the option of going full time or an option of salary, but they thought, I'm making pretty good money right now and I have the option of overtime. I don't want to do that. But if they knew that difference could get them into a home,
Yeah.
these are the conversations we need to have up front so they know what the difference is. And that small differential can make a world of difference in being able to own a home.
And what the worst thing too is, Jessica, this just popped in my mind. When people start doing well at work and they're doing well, they just got a promotion.
Right.
What's the first thing they go do?
Oh, buy a new car.
There you
Yep.
go. Buy a new car.
Time for a Lamborghini.
They buy like a $600, $700 car payment or $400, and now you just lowered your impact of buying capability by $100,000.
Right.
And so, if you're thinking of buying a house, don't buy a car.
No,
Wait.
at least let's have that conversation
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
The car may be something you could do, right after you buy a home.
Buy a junker, then buy the house,
Yeah.
then buy the car.
Well,
And
let's figure out it's your whole picture again. How far are you driving to work? Are you driving Uber for a living, or are you working in the Bay Area 3
Yeah.
days a week? Let's figure out what makes sense for you.
Yeah. So that's just, it's happened to me so many times.
Yes.
It's happened to me so many times. This guy made $40,000 and he's got a $900 car payment.
Dang.
Truck payment, and so
I hope it's
what
lifted.
What are you doing? I hope you're sleeping in it. I hope it's got a nice kitchen and
Right.
bathroom. And so, it's nothing bad about having a nice vehicle, but I get it. But what's more important? The car is going to go down in value.
Right.
The house will go up
Oh,
in
there's a
value.
time and place, people. And
Right.
I tell everybody the road to home ownership, in my opinion, is the only way you're going to be able to retire.
That's
This
right.
is the biggest payment you have going out the door. And the only way to lock that in with the same payment on a 30-year fixed is to be able to buy a home and have a mortgage. And if that's your biggest payment, how else are you going to be able to retire if this just keeps going up 10% every year?
Yeah.
You're just robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Exactly.
Get into a home, let's secure that payment, and this can put you on the trajectory to be able to do this over and over and go into a multifamily and really build wealth, build legacy for your family.
Be Paul,
Yeah.
not Peter.
Yes, seriously.
You want to be Paul. You want someone robbing Peter to pay you.
To pay you,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's what you need to do, and it's ultimately it's just economics. I ran some numbers on, and we'll get into some more details about what we've been talking about on the show. But we've got renovation and construction and what to do and all that. So, but I ran numbers on $995. We're looking. I know that $995,000 purchase price.
That's a pretty nice house.
It's a heavy house. It's a nice house. 5% down.
Okay.
Okay. And
That's nothing
you're looking
for that
about
price.
a $6,000 payment.
Okay.
Roughly. And so, sure, yeah, that's a big house. A lot of these people, a lot of these families, I mean, this is a 5-bedroom house, and they cohabitate.
Right.
You got mothers, you got dads, you got kids, you got aunts, uncles, you name it. everyone's buying a house. Sometimes you got 5 people on the application.
Uh-huh.
You can do that. So whoever has a job, put them on the application. If you're married, you're going to have to put your spouse if you're going FHA. And if you're not married, then you don't need to put them on, or you can go conventional if your credit score's there. But $995,000,
Okay.
5% down, $6,000 payment. It's going to be way more than what you can rent this $4,000 house for, right? Say you live in this $4,000 house for 5 years and you're renting. And so I've done an 8% appreciation.
Okay.
Right?
Average.
Which
Yeah.
is average. With a 5% down in 60 years, or no, I'm sorry, in 5 years, 60 years. In 5 years, you're going to owe $884,000, okay? And that's with 5% down on $995,000.
Okay.
And in 5 years, you're going to be at an average value of $1.461 million. So
Wow.
$1,461,000, right?
And what does that now allow you to do? I mean, you've got equity. You could pull out equity.
Yeah.
You could use this for a vacation home that you can Airbnb when you're not there. You can use it for a multifam that you're renting out. Like this is the trajectory that it puts you in.
So if we're doing the 1461 minus 884, right? And I'm just going to break out my little trusty calculator,
Ooh.
okay? Minus 884.
Oh, I
right?
see where we're going with this.
You just made $577,000 in 5 years.
And you put 5% down to make that money.
How much did you pay for your rent that you don't get anything on?
Right.
$4,000,
Yeah.
right? So you put away $4,000 to someone else's mortgage, right? Times 60 months, you just paid $240,000.
You get nothing back,
Nothing
right?
back.
Nothing.
Nothing back.
Nope.
Nope.
In fact,
So-
you're going to pay for some paint on the way out the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's big interest deductions that you get off of that. You get to write
True.
off all the mortgage interest. That's a heavy chunk right now. You're doing a 2-1 buy down with this. This product is what I would advise doing. And that way your interest rate is 2% lower the first year, 1% lower the second year. So I just wanted to go through that and show people that this house in 8 years is going to be worth $1,841,000.
And that's based on an average. I could tell you the first house I bought doubled in value.
Yeah.
I mean, so it really depends on what market we're in. Right now, 8% is our average.
Yeah.
But we could come into a market where
That's
you could
appreciation rate, yeah.
do even better than that.
And then so that you just made $1 million in 8 years.
Amazing.
A millionaire. You're now a millionaire, folks. So real estate is the smarter path. And obviously this number is 995, but if you have any questions on what you think you're looking at a property on, or if you want numbers ran, you can text to 916-872-7177, or you can also text Jessica at what's your
916-532-8916. I'd be happy to go show you some homes that meet the mark here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a great idea for, say, a married couple that maybe have a child, have their parents joining them. When we have 4 people on an application, we can easily get these numbers accomplished.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be back shortly. Just on our next segment, we're going to have renovation, construction, and we're also going to dive into a little bit about what we're doing with corporations and giving back to the community.
Yeah.
We'll be back after this.
When buying or selling your next home, work with an experienced team that knows the business, a local team that knows the market, and has the skill set to take care of every single detail and get you top dollar if you're selling and help you negotiate the best deal if you're buying, all without spending a dollar out of your pocket. Work with Pro Mortgage and Realty. Hi, I'm Jessica Couch of Pro Mortgage and Realty. We cover those out-of-pocket expenses like your home inspection, appraisal, and help with closing costs. It's our commitment that we make to you with your next real estate transaction. We'll make it as easy as possible and stress-free. We're not all about business. At Pro Mortgage and Realty, we've developed deep roots in the community, and we've partnered with local nonprofits to give back. Come work with my team, a team that's got your back. Call or text me today, 916-532-8916. That's 916-532-8916, or visit promortgagerealty.com. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty.
NMLS 351319, DRE 01745667.
If you or a family member are in the process of buying a home, then you'll want to hear this. Pro Mortgage and Realty has streamlined the home buying process, providing you with mortgage pre-approval and a top-performing real estate agent all under one roof. And if you call or text within the next 10 minutes to 916-872-7177, that's 916-872-7177, they will cover your closing costs. Pro Mortgage and Realty makes it easy. They will negotiate the best deals and save you thousands by using one company. From down payment assistance programs, DSCR loans, FHA and VA loans, and more. They cover all aspects of mortgage and real estate, from finding you the right finance programs to finding you the right home. Work with a company that can be with you throughout the whole home buying process. Call 916-872-7177 or visit ProMortgageRealty.com for more information. Work with the pros. Pro Mortgage and Realty. NMLS number 315319 and DRE number 017-45667.
Welcome back to Real Estate Profits with Purpose. I'm your host, Ian Boshoff, and here with Jessica Couch.
Good evening.
Good evening. We've been going over the process of purchasing real estate for a first-time home buyer, for an investor.
Yeah.
And what we didn't talk about is rehab and construction. So real quick, rehab loans, rehabilitation loans, that's home ready, not home ready, renovation loans. So these are big. We just did one.
We did.
So how do we walk that situation through? So buyer wants to buy a house. He wants a real good deal like everybody else, right? Tell me about it.
The bank-owned property was cash only, and we said, no, that's not going to work for us. We don't have that money in cash, but we could do a renovation loan. And we were able to make it work out. What's that?
5% down, right?
5% down.
Yeah.
We had a contractor already ready to go. We went through the repairs that we thought were going to be needed. The appraiser called out those repairs because we knew what they were going to find.
Yep.
We had a budget for that, tied it all up into one loan, and he paid $435, I want to say, $437, something like that.
How big was the property?
3/4 of an acre, half an acre, 3/4 of an acre.
That's big, though,
Had a pool that had been filled in because of, compromised.
Yeah. It bank owned?
Yes. A lot of work in the house, but decent sized property. The point of this is the houses in that neighborhood, I was pulling comps for another home I sold close by. They're like $850. So he got this house for $437. He's doing a good amount of the work himself. We did have to have some renovation stuff done in order to get the loan with the contractor.
$35,000, I think it was. I did the loan. It was 30,
I think you're right. I think it was something
30
like that.
if it's under
so
30,
we were under 5.
Yeah.
And these houses are comping out at 800,000 sort of as a minimum in Shingle Springs. So don't be detoured if this house is not financeable immediately. We do have some products like the renovation loan that could really work.
That's like $300,000.
In your pocket, right? In your pocket.
Well, in equity, but if you sell, it's. I mean, you're at that point, you don't want to sell because you're going to get hit taxed.
Right.
Pretty hard. So,
but they're making this their owner-occupant property, and they're renting out their other property. They have 2 homes on one lot. Great deal. That was
a killer deal.
Yeah, they're going to be able to rent that out and be homeowners and have rental income coming in.
So the process, just to recap on it, is we identify the property, right? And usually these bank-owned, these foreclosures, they require heavy cash or all cash.
Yeah.
But if we come in and we provide renovation pre-approval, which we do, and we come in there, then they can get all the improvements built in depending on what needs to be done. It can be fully structural. It can be a full renovation if it's over $35,000, or it can be a minor restructure. So you can, depending on the scope of work, will determine on what type of loan and how quick. But I think we closed it in 45 days.
Yeah.
And we got it done. You have to get an appraiser out there. You got to put in the bids and the itemization cost breakdown that has to be built into the values of the appraisal. And there's a lot of more moving parts in that transaction. But $300,000, it's all worth it.
Yes.
It's all worth it.
Absolutely.
And I'm doing all the work.
Yeah.
And I'm not making it $300,000.
So
are you. You're doing all the work. I'm doing
area. Good property. I mean, you have to have somebody who's knowledgeable enough and a little willing to take the risk. And then you really need to have a good lending team, because this agent would have never taken this had this not made sense and you knew what you were doing on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Well, that leads me to construction. Construction's a bigger animal. Everyone wants to jump into construction. Oh, I can build this house,
sure.
But hey, there's a lot involved. Because
What's involved? Like, what are the steps here?
Shoot, we do. You can do 3.5% down.
Okay.
You could buy the land and build the home with one loan.
Wow.
And so all you need is 3.5%. However, you have to deal with buying the land, and then you have to deal with getting the permits, the plans, architectural drawings, renderings, getting the right contractor approved with FHA or conventional. You got to go through a lot. And so, but building a home is a full-time job.
Right.
And even if you're not the builder, it's a full-time job. So if you can handle it, you can talk to us. Jessica works with landowners all the time. And so if you can find it, I mean, they've been flying off the shelves like hotcakes, but that is a key thing is that process is that you need to have a contractor, licensed general contractor, experienced in residential construction, and they need to be approved with Fannie Mae, or they need to be approved with HUD, and we have to go through and get them vetted first. Then we go through the process of identifying the land, tying up the land in contract, and then you can do all your due diligence during that period of time, and then see if this is something you want to tackle on. You're going to get your architectural renderings. You're going to get the contractor out there to walk the property. Jessica's going to pull up the prelim to see if there's any liens or encumbrances or restrictions on the property. And
Or how big the property has to be.
Yeah.
We've done that.
Yeah, you got to go through the planning committee. You've got to go to not the planning committee. I'm sorry. Go through the permit process with the county and find out what you can build on this land.
Right.
So there's a lot more products there, but your interest during that loan, not only on the renovation, but you can build in your payments on the renovation. You can build in your payments on the construction. So you can go up to 12 months on these. So you're not making a payment during all this.
Wow.
So you can do that if there's room, but give us a call at the end of the show, 916-872-7177, or call Jessica.
916-532-8916. And it sounds to me from just what you said, if you have a contractor in mind, you better call Ian now so that you could get them vetted if you're now looking for property. It's a process. It's a process you'd want to start sooner than later.
So there you have it, folks. We've had first-time home buyers that Jessica walks us through, the experienced investor looking for that baller cap rate, that high cap rate.
Yeah.
And then we've talked over renovation and construction. Now, we've talked about these things. What about the other things that we're trying to do? We've got some listings. You know, being
We
a first
do.
full service brokers, we have the listings. Jessica, you've got a whopper. Tell me about it.
A whopper 3.2 kitchen is being redone as we speak. So I think we're going to do another open house and a broker's open this coming week. Show off this brand new kitchen, multi-generational home, pool, outside kitchen. Just a stupid amount of room. Workout room, a sauna, a double office, Tesla charger in the garage. Just a lot of stuff in a very desirable neighborhood in Sacramento. This home was built by Squeaky. Squeaky was what he went by. He built these great Tudor homes in the 60s. This is one of those.
my God.
And these homes only exist in the 95864. So just a great part of town right by the American River. But you're going to pay to live there. And we've also had some land for sale right now. It's 10 acres, and the seller's willing to carry that. So if you are somebody looking for something that you could build on, we've got it.
Where is that?
Georgetown.
Okay.
Tin Ranch Road. So if you're looking for something 10 acres, something seller will carry, maybe you want to, if you're not looking to build a home right now, you want to live in a tiny house, you're looking to throw an RV on there and chill for a while, we've got a property for you.
How do they get a hold of you, Jessica?
916-532-8916. You have a huge house.
It's not as big as yours.
It's not far behind.
It's 5,300 square feet. That one's in, and I don't do a lot of listings. This is like a friend, and so maybe one a year. But it's a 7 bedrooms.
7
and
bedrooms.
7 bedrooms, five bathrooms, and it's 5,300 square feet in Whitney Oaks, gated community, $100 HOA, 106.
It's nothing.
It has pools, they have golf courses, they've got a clubhouse, they've got a little restaurant, a little bar, drink your hot toddy or whatever you do, and it's a killer neighborhood because people cruise around their golf carts, they cruise around in their scooters. Great place to have a family, 10 rated school district. It's a beautiful house. The whole upstairs was redone. Just big house. And so that one's on the market for $1,689, and sellers
deal.
Yeah, it's actually offering credits towards a temporary buy down as well.
Amazing.
So give me a call at 916-872-7177, and I'll provide more information about this, or you can log on to promortgagerealty.com and we'll answer these questions for you. I would like to ask you what you're doing right now with these companies in our cause.
Thank you for asking. Yes.
Profits with Purpose has a cause.
Yes, I'm so excited to have such a purpose for the show. You know, we are believers at a high level, and I believe in giving back. I think that's what we are called to do. Build community, be a conduit to connect people, and have a way to give back and get everybody involved. So that's what I'm really passionate about. We're partnered with Panda Express. These guys rock, let me tell you.
Yeah.
The way that they run their company, I really appreciate. And the, what's the word for it? They are so excited about homeownership and making all their employees homeowners that they have really built in longevity into their career path. So we're doing something special with Panda. We give something even more back to Panda employees. And I want to do the same thing with a few other companies. We have a few looking into this program right now. I don't want to give you too many details, but what I'd really like to find is a trucking company. I would like a trucking company to be involved, especially with the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
Sex trafficking is real. We are able to put some real dollars to work here, and I would love nothing more than to have a trucking company get behind this. We're going to help you build longevity with all of your employees. They're making good money. Some of them don't own a home yet. If we can get them into a home, they're going to want to stick with this career, be able to pay off a home, be able to buy a multifamily, and then we're giving money back and being able to help with your name as the trucking company with Underground Railroad. We could really do some big things together.
Yeah, and Operation Underground Railroad is, if you don't know, is from the movie The Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom was
such
that
a good
movie.
movie.
It just resonated and hit me hard. And even though everyone knows what's going on out there, it's just kind of, they don't want to admit it or acknowledge it and look at it. And for me, I kind of cringe when I see it. I can't even watch it on TV. I get so upset. But, you know, they're actually going in there and bulldozing their way through, and they help with special tactical investigations, and they help bust these people and these rings. So 10% of the profit goes to them. And also, it can also go to the Sweet Dreams Foundation.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
Oh, Sweet Dreams, we do dream bedrooms for children battling a life-threatening illness. It's very often cancer. We have another program, Ruse Baby Wraps for babies in the NICU. A great organization, great local community organization. But what I really think is great about this is just being that conduit with the businesses. Like with Panda, they're allowing us to do a recycling program, put in recycling containers into their restaurants so that the money that is raised from your cans and bottles that are just getting thrown in the trash are going to support Sweet Dreams.
That's awesome.
And I want a trucking company to do this for our
Come on,
Operation
truckers.
Underground Railroad.
Yeah. Give us a call at 916-872-7177 or log on to promortgagerealty.com. Any business out there that wants to get involved with a cause, we're not looking for anything from you, but we'd love to help you and your business and your employees. We'd like to give back to the community. How do they get a hold of you, Jessica, one more time?
916-532-8916. We'll come roll out the red carpet. We'll show you our program. Again, no money from you, no energy from you. We'll run everything, and we'll make you a rock star.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming to our show, The Real Estate Profits with Purpose. We'll be back next week.